everyone, and welcome to Knights Talk. I'm your host, Rob Leonard. The Knights of Meaford wrapped up their regular season schedule, getting ready for the playoffs. Well, the playoffs, game one will be in the books by the time this gets to air. But let's go back to last Thursday night, the final final regular season home game. The Knights of Meaford took on the Seguin Huskies. We have all the goals from that one. Get the players here every single year.
And he does a great year. Well, they both do a great job.
Langowski scores! What a snipe! Colton Langowski, no mistake. Mr. Thorgerson.
He's doing a good job.
He kept an eye on him all right, knocked him on the seat of his pants. So right in front, scores!
I remember...
scores! Number 71, that's Kyle Torgerson. Just to finish out his... Here's Eric Lowry. Shot scores!
Eric Lowry.
Eric Lowry, the man that tells me he is not a goal scorer. From the draw, it's off, but the Knights are going to come away with it. Shot scores! What a blast! Number 11, that's Nico Walsh. Langowski, can he keep it in? No, he can't. Here's a chance. Splitting the D. Shot scores! Tyler Strutz is knocked off the puck. Oh my goodness. That was number 16. Billy Limitanen. He's trying desperately to hold on. Jason Stone shot doesn't make it through. That puck's going to be cleared. Is it going to go for icing? The referee says no. Puck empty net, scores! The Knights of Meaford a 5-3 loss in this game, so that's going to give Seguin a bit of make them feel good about a season that really hasn't been that great for them. I think they've only had maybe 7 wins all season long. So. And as you can see by the final score, the Seguin Huskies, the last place Seguin Huskies, would defeat the Knights of Meaford by a score of 5-3. For the Knights, Colton Langowski, Eric Lowry, and Nico Walsh would score their score on the Knights. The Knights then Saturday night with a game in Bradford versus the Rattlers. And in all fairness, these last 2 games of the season really meant nothing at all to the Knights in the standings. They had fifth place clinched. They couldn't finish any worse or any better than 5th. So I remember after the game against Seguin being the final regular season of the game, head coach Nate Parrish apologized to me for such a bad game on a night. And I said, honestly, Nate, I said, as long as nobody got hurt and you've got no suspensions heading into the playoffs, you won the game tonight. So, and the Seguin Huskies, they had a tough season this year, finishing in last place. And I've gotten to know the coaching staff for Seguin. They were actually the guys that ran the Parry Sound Islanders the year before, and they went right to the final that year. And I felt bad for them on the season, but Doug guarantees me they will be back next year, bigger, stronger than ever. So we look forward to seeing Seguin next year. In that game against the Rattlers, the final score was 7-2 in favor of the Rattlers. Tyler Strutz and Jack Underhill would score for the Knights. Let's now take a look at the final league standings. Now, as you can see, Almaguin, they finished on top, tied actually with the Bradford Rattlers, but with the head-to-head tiebreaker, Almaguin would get first place. Then 3rd and 4th ended up in a tie between the 2 teams. I thought Temiskaming was in Quebec, but it's actually just on the border in Ontario, but we refer to them as the 2 Quebec teams. Identical records. Ville-Marie, first year in the league, and they finished with 59 points. So, but Ville-Marie, again, tiebreaker with the head-to-head series. They get 3rd place, and Temiskaming ends up in 4th. The Knights of Meaford, they had a really good season this year, 22-15 and 5 for 49 points. The Knights started off with a fantastic start. It was the best start in franchise history, but this team, if they could bring it all together, they can do some real damage in these playoffs. So if we could take a look at the Knights' leading scorers. The final tally, Tyler Strutz was on top all season long. I don't think anyone challenged him for that top spot with 24 goals, 28 assists, and 52 points. Daniels Lega had a great season as well at 40 points. Skylar Robertson in the last, the Christmas break on Skylar really came into his own, ending up with 37 points. Callum Queenan, 36 points. He completely shattered his point total from last year. Eric Lowry had a great season as well with 34 points. Nico Walsh, he had 36 games in there, and he had some suspension problems, but definitely a premier player, but missing those games really hurt his point totals. And there's my buddy Justin Pereira. We'll give him a shout out there down at the bottom. 3 goals, 20 assists. Justin, just energy all night long, every game. And I'm not sure if he's got, I think he has one more year left. So let's hope so. I'd love to see Justin back in a Knights uniform next year. If we could take a look at the final league scorers. Chris Hay, now he was there all season long too. Look at the top 3 scorers. Top 3 scorers, all from St. George, all over 120 points each. Just incredible. And as I've been saying, my buddy Vyacheslav Grigantyev, I figured he'd be up there. He was with Tottenham. Last minute deal at the trade deadline. He ended up playing for Windsor, so he's going to get a good run in these playoffs. This is his overage year. He'll be done at the end of the season, so I think that's why that move was made from Tottenham to Windsor, to give him an opportunity as well. And again, sitting at number 6 is Isaiah Rai. The London team, the London Lakers, I think they had 3 wins all season long, but look at that young man with 63 goals on the season. That was the bright light for the London Lakers. And again, I was talking with their general manager earlier on, and he said that young team, they were really going to struggle this year. He knew that back at the start of the season, but that again, he promises that they will be a year older, a year wiser, and they'll have a good team on the ice as well. So also we need to put out a congratulations to goalkeeper, Knights goalkeeper Maricel Greases, Rookie of the Year in the North Division for the Knights of Meaford. So fantastic for Maris and for the Knights of Meaford to take away some hardware at the end of the season. So now, as I said, it's playoff time. I think one of the series is already underway, but let's take a look at the matchups in the North Division. All right, so as you can see, number 1 Elmagwin will play against South Muskoka. The Bradford Rattlers will face West Nipissing. Ville Marie gets the New Tech Civics, and Temiskaming will play Meaford. So I'm going to give you my predictions here. I'm going to say that now it's the best of 2 out of 3 series, which is really odd, I thought, for the first round. So that'll be really interesting. Game 1 is going to be so important to all of these teams. And Elmagwin, South Muskoka, I'm going to say Elmagwin should win that in 2 straight. Bradford, West Nipissing, I'm going to say the Rattlers in 2 straight. Ville Marie, New Tech, that might be a little closer. New Tech's kind of had an off and on season this year. They were near the top of the pile, but they ended up in 6th spot. But they still got a good team there. Ville Marie, a good young first-year team. I'm going to say that New Tech takes them to Game 3, but it's going to be Ville Marie in that one. And not just because this is Knights Talk, and not just because I'm a big Knights supporter, but I'm going to say that the Knights come out on top on this one, 2-1. If they can win tonight, well, basically it's tonight. We're taping this on Thursday. If the Knights can win in Temiskaming tonight, that would be huge coming back to Meaford on Saturday night. So again, you have the dates for that series, right, Mark? We do have it there. Okay. So as I said, today is Thursday, the February 22nd in Temiskaming. Team left at 3 o'clock this afternoon on the long road to Temiskaming. They're going to be back here Saturday night. Unfortunately, that game will not be on Rogers TV. with some scheduling conflicts, and that happens when you know, you don't know what the playoff matchups are going to be until, in a lot of cases, right to the end of the season. So it makes it really difficult to schedule those games. If Game 3 is necessary, they'll take Sunday off and they'll be back in Temiskaming at 7:30. Now, these two teams met 3 times in the regular season. Temiskaming started the season at 4-4. The Knights were game number 9 for them, and the Knights came in, and Temiskaming beat the Knights by a score of 8-1. But what that did was it started a 13-game winning streak for Temiskaming, and some things happened. And in the 3 games, Temiskaming and Meaford 8-1 in that first game. The next game, Temiskaming won by a score of 4-3. I believe it was in overtime. But then Temiskaming made their trip to Meaford just in the past couple of weeks. And for the very first time in team history, the Knights were able to pull off a 4-3 victory over Temiskaming in Meaford. So, and one of the big things in that game was that the Knights picked up former Titans goalkeeper Raphael Izzo just after the Christmas break. So I'm sure Raphael had a little bit of inside info there on Temiskaming. But you know, it's tough to say. The Knights come out, if they play the way they did against Almaguin, the game they played against Temiskaming, one of the games they played against the Bradford Rattlers, if they come out and play that smart style hockey and stay disciplined, they can do a lot of damage in these playoffs this year. So should be very exciting. But I think your champion is going to come from the South Division this year. And I believe we have those matchups, Mark? Yes, we do. Okay, there's the final standings in the South Division. St. George, unbelievable, 38-3-1, 77 points. They finished 11 points ahead of second place Kingsville. Niagara, 65 points. North York was 62 points. So those top 4 teams very, very close in the standings. Then the Bradford Bulls, and down the list you go. So first round matchups, St. George, powerhouse, playing against the Toronto Predators first round. Definitely going to be a 2-0 sweep for St. George. Kingsville is going to go up against Northumberland. I'm going to say Kingsville in 2. And then we have Niagara-Windsor. Now, I think if we're going to have an upset, this may be the one. The Windsor Aces, first year in the league. Niagara had they were hot and cold. They were definitely not the team they were last year, where they were basically the St. George of the league last year. So, but hot, cold, you got a 3-game series, best 2 out of 3. Windsor picked up some bodies at the trade deadline, and they could do some damage. So I'm going to go with Windsor in 3 games there. And then we've got the North York Renegades playing against the Bradford Bulls. That series may have started already. I saw it up on the schedule, but I'm not 100% certain. It may start tonight. So yeah, I'm going to go with North York in that one, 2-1. Producer Mark Perry picked St. George to win the championship, and I would absolutely have to agree with him on that one. So I believe that's going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank producer Mark Perry. I'm Rob Leonard. We'll see you next time on Knights Talk.